whatever time of day it is for you, and welcome to SJU here on Fandom Entertainment. Today we are going to be talking about Sonic, its surprise success at the box office this weekend, also the continued success of Parasite after its big Best Picture Oscar win, and looking forward at the rest of 2020, what we can expect, what we are excited about in the films that are yet to come. I am Emma Fyffe, and joining me at the table today, we have Hot Take Sally himself, Ed Greer.
Hey, guys.
And we've also got the greatest fictional knife salesman this side of the internet. It is Dan Murrell, or is it Rooster Williams?
Rooster McFeely Williams.
McFeely Williams. Unclear.
Unclear.
Yes.
But a man of mystery.
It is. He is a man of mystery. And you know what else is a big mystery, or maybe not so much, is the really mind-blowing success of Sonic the Hedgehog at the box office this weekend. This story comes via Variety. After Paramount delayed the film so director Jeff Fowler could redesign the animated character, the movie received positive reviews and a 3-day opening weekend of $58 million domestic, the best showing ever for a movie based on a video game. Sonic has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes for an audience score and received an A cinema score from opening night audiences. I feel like I cannot be alone in being a little bit surprised by the overwhelming success of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. I did, even when they redesigned it. I'm like, who cares? It doesn't matter. No one cares. You know, this is for them.
Here we are.
Good for Paramount. They need it.
They did.
They need it
This
desperately.
is a big win for Paramount. Yeah. Ed, what was your feeling going into this weekend of this medium-sized hedgehog just taking the world by storm?
Well, you know what's interesting? Full disclosure, I know both Pat Casey and Josh Miller, the screenwriters on the movie. I know them. And so I have, on walks and lunches, heard about all of the stuff that was being done. Of course, not proprietary super secrets or anything, but just oh, we got to turn in this draft. Oh, we got to do this. We got to do that. And this went through a lot of permutations, guys. This is corporations made good, I think, and also them looking at things that there are things in this movie that made it from the very first draft all the way through, a bunch of things. And I just think it's a real vindication for people who actually take this type of product seriously and do the work through all the drafts to make it a cohesive, cohering story. And then the rest is up to the audience.
Sure. Well, because, in addition to its success at the box office this weekend, again, this movie is being incredibly well reviewed, not just by kids who definitely are the target audience. That was my feeling when I saw it, when I was watching it. I thought, man, if I was a kid, I would really like this movie. Also at my screening, it was like being at a Rowdy Cat screening, but for children. There were children literally running around the aisles and screaming, so that might have marred my enjoyment of this film a little bit, because I have a lot of personal friends who are saying they genuinely really liked this movie. It's a little surprising.
One of my friends went on a date. It was a second date.
Oh.
And she had espoused a hate for Star Wars earlier, but my friend had soldiered through that. But when she said she didn't like Sonic, that was it. Because my friend was very much I laughed a few times. It wasn't for babies.
No.
You're being mean. It was this genuine. She'd shown a bunch of mean. Yeah. Oh, but she'd shown meannesses I can't get into right now before. But that's a cherry on top of a sundae. Sugar-coated topping.
Yeah, I would not torpedo a potential romance over Sonic.
Yeah.
But if there's more to it, I get it.
Oh, there's definitely more. But the bottom line is, though, there's just the assumption that it's just going to suck. I could understand why that is, because we've seen so many failed video game properties. But again, not to stroke my buddies, but they sat in a room and made a story that makes sense about a blue hedgehog and James Marsden having to have an adventure together. It isn't this whole say my name backwards. He's not a sidekick in his own movie. Sonic is very much his own character in the movie without them spending $1 billion on it. It's like some kind of, I don't know. There's alchemy of how much Sonic is on screen versus it is in the real world, though. So they didn't have to spend a bunch of money on all these green screen environments. So it's just this alchemy between sort of a low budget movie and then this high budget thing that pops in every now and again.
Yeah, it's very interesting, as you say, Ed, because we don't see a whole lot of success with video game movies, and as you pointed out, there was a lot of attention to detail in this in terms of making a cohesive story. Whether or not you're into that cohesive story, it has a very clear beginning, middle, and end. There is a character arc. Do you think that that's some of the reason why this has seen so much success as far as video game films are concerned?
There are reasons why the characters must be together, and there is a little bit of heart to how they start to cohere as a team throughout the adventure. And I think a little bit of that goes a very, very, very long way.
We tie all the time on charting, and we'll be discussing this in depth, even more depth on charting later today. Plug. I'm told I'm not good at plugging things, so that's an attempt to plug something. Thank you, Ryan. Is this idea of the intangibles. Whenever anyone's looking at the success or failure of a movie, a lot of times you can point to this, you can point to that, and a lot of times you point to the intangibles. And I think that also helped with Sonic in the sense that, like, the whole redesign thing pushes the release. It was originally supposed to come out last year, and a much busier, a much more crowded, and a much more competitive, particularly with kids and animated films, part of the year. It gets pushed to this year because of the redesign. Everyone's like, oh no, that sucks. But when you look at it, it ends up coming out on a weekend where it has little to no competition for the family market, where it is up against a low-budget Blumhouse horror movie that was horribly reviewed, Birds of Prey's second weekend, which had already opened below expectations the weekend before, and also even though it's a comic book based film, is not really competitive for the same market.
No.
So you have this whole rigmarole and this whole thing with redesigning the character, but it's, that may have been the thing that pushed it to a window for success. And that's the thing, when people talk about lessons learned, etc., a lot of times it is definitely about the quality of the film. It's about this, it's about that. And sometimes you just have to chalk it up to timing.
Yeah.
Sometimes the timing just happens to be right for a movie, and it looks like, whether they intended to or not, Paramount hit a window that brought this film great success. You have a 3-day weekend for a lot of kids that are, off school potentially for President's Day weekend. I think it's a combination of things, and the intangibles in this case happened to line up for Paramount as well.
Yeah. As you say, I think it really was the perfect storm of when they initially released those images and Sonic looked like he did. There was such an outcry from audiences that were against what he looked like, because again, it did not look like the character from the video game. And I think that I was somebody that actually was quite fond of Detective Pikachu, and one of the things I thought they did really well was the attention to detail in terms of recreating the Pokemon for the real world, and that's very much what we ended up seeing with the Sonic film. Do you think that if they'd continued to push the release date, so it still fell into this nice sweet spot of not really competing with anything in terms of the family market, 3-day weekend, but they had kept that old character design, do you think that it would have been as successful as it is?
Well, it rides in with bad buzz. I feel like the buzz on it went from horrible to neutral.
Sure.
With the redesign.
Yeah.
And so by that metric, I guess that actually ended up working, because there was a long enough time, and they worked enough VFX artists for too long without pay, and then probably ran their company into bankruptcy long enough to get the character redesigned. And there's a whole separate issue. Look it up. To sort of. Yeah, I feel like that was sort of in the rearview mirror by the time it came out, and it was again much more about Sonic, but you had a look that was better. So I was surprised by how much that conversation sort of died down after they went back to the redesign. Everyone was just kind of like, okay, and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it was like it had never happened.
No, because I totally agree with that. I feel like, as you say, it wasn't like there was a lot of buzz around Sonic going into its opening weekend. It was they redesigned the character. He looks good now.
Yeah.
I don't feel like people were going into it thinking, oh man, it's going to be so great now that they redesigned him. I think it was more of a people going in going, all right, well, let's see.
Well, yeah. Well, like Dan was saying, going from being against it to being neutral was a lot. But also, it's some of these things where it's like, we can always look at this 2020 hindsight. Like, why did he have weird teeth before? Why was that at all? Why don't you just call it Harley Quinn meets the Birds of Prey for a little while? You know what I'm saying? Just just do it. You know you got to do it. You know, Birds of Prey was not enough to save that CW show as far as a name brand.
Sure.
Right? Especially when you're not committing to certain Birds of Prey things like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy basically being in a relationship, like, you know, some of the real damage the Huntress has done to herself and others, like Black Canary going through, like, losing her powers, gaining her powers, all those different things. There could have been some Birds of Prey, but you know you're banking on Harley and her being the best part of another movie, so just go. And you know that Sonic needs to look like a video game. You paid, little kids are paying to, like, not be able to control Sonic on the screen.
Yeah,
basically.
It is. It's truly interesting to, you know, you bring up the example of Birds of Prey, and had Birds of Prey marketed itself more as a Harley Quinn film, which it absolutely is. And by the way, I loved Birds of Prey, but it's not really a Birds of Prey movie. It's a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
That's
and
correct.
I like the clever title of And the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, but that title is too clever, I think, for not to say that the general movie-going audience is dumb, but it's like they see Birds of Prey first and they don't see Harley Quinn in there anywhere.
Well, to try to riff on the assassination by the coward John Ford or whatever, to try to do that with this market, it doesn't make any sense. Would you put some truffle oil on some McDonald's fries, dummy?
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but as you say, with Sonic, we're seeing the opposite of that, of they did very much not so much pander, but listen to what audiences wanted. And as you say, we are now watching, you're now paying to not be able to control Sonic.
Then where's my controller? He's doing all types of stuff. He's more annoying than I would like. You know, which was another thing. He really stayed true to his character as well. I don't think Sonic came in there like shooting two guns, like Yosemite Sam or something. He wasn't Mr. Mitzi's Pitalik. He wasn't any weird little gnome menacing people or being too... He was just Sonic. I'm fast. I'm restless. I'm a kid. And they really committed that to that characterization throughout the whole movie. And he even has a little arc. He has a little Sonic arc.
He does have a little Sonic arc, and he gets some new shoes.
Oh, the new shoes!
It's such a cute moment. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen Sonic.
Yeah,
but,
just check him out, man. He loves those.
No, overall, it does. It does really, though, bring into question this idea of if we want to consider Sonic to be art, how much should creators listen to audiences, particularly when it comes to creating things that are based on existing properties?
It depends.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Because again, Paramount, the same thing happened, and I mentioned this when the whole redesign thing came up initially. The same thing happened with Ninja Turtles, and Paramount didn't redesign it, and the movie still did really well.
Yeah.
So I think you. I'm a proponent of the fact that a lot of audiences don't know what they want until they see it. Or they think that they don't want something and then they see it and they don't mind it. So I think it's a slippery slope. I think in this case, they did do this. But it wasn't like flipping a switch. I don't want to know how much money that added to the budget of the film. Quite a bit, I would imagine, and also a lot of hard work on the behalf of many hundreds of digital artists who again, just that's a separate conversation. But I think you have to be very careful of towing the line between being confident in your vision for something, or as a team being confident in the vision that you're putting out, even if it meets resistance, and being completely deaf to what people say. Because it worked in this case, but I don't necessarily think that you want the voice of the fans to be the sole thing that's driving the ship, because sometimes you have to take a risk.
Yes.
Right.
Sometimes you have to take a risk, or otherwise all you're going to get is safe, bland, uninspired stuff. And guess what? The fans don't like that either.
All you'll get is written and directed by Reddit.
But no, what I was going to say is I totally agree with everything you just said. But what I was going to say is what happened to good old-fashioned get some mothers and dads to let you have their kids and put them in some underground bunker for a while and play with the thing or look at the thing. What happened to that kind of market research?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What happened to that? Because it's this concept that the very first time the kid public sees it is on Twitter. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. Everything that was big when I was a kid, they grabbed little kids and said, hey, mall mother, I see you're quite harried. Why don't we take these friggin' monsters down into this dungeon and put a VCR tape in there and show them She-Ra? And if they hate it, we'll fix it. And if they don't, we'll do it. Right. What happened to that? What happened to that? Now we got fat 40-year-old dudes like me going, they don't like this. Unlike children should be in charge of that. Children should be in charge of the machine. Children, get them and do it.
Particularly when you're talking about a children's property. That's some of the problem, though, is that information travels so fast these days that we don't get to have those opportunities necessarily.
So you get them in a bunker. That was the point of the bunker. That wasn't just metaphorical flourish. The whole point was these kids never take the Sonic prototype down to the playground. They get to look at it, and then they check them down with X-ray machines when they leave, so they don't take them with them. You know what I mean? You have to do these things in secret and see how these things sell. When I was a little baby kid, that Masters of the Universe stuff, once they let kids play with it and play with those big fat muscly dolls, and the kids were just talking to each other, I have the power, I'm gonna smash you, I'm gonna smack you up, and they're just like, power. 5-year-old boys in America, all they care about is power. I think they could have had similar revelations about Sonic's design if it had been done that way, and obviously they did some of that, but not enough, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know, but, well, this is one of those scenarios where listening to the audience seems to have paid off in a big way, so good on you, Sonic the Hedgehog. I was rooting for you. I didn't think it was going to end this way, but here we are. Before we move on to our next story, we want to take a moment to thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, turning on your notifications, commenting, and hitting that bell. Be sure to check out Fandom IRL, where we have a lawyer defending the Joker and a psychologist breaking down whether or not Harley Quinn is actually crazy. So be sure to check out that playlist for more content like that. We've got the honest trailer for Knives Out.
Knives Out is out.
Check it out.
Yeah, I actually haven't checked in on it today. I hope people like it. I hope you like it.
I like Knives Out.
I liked it.
So
I liked the trailer.
I'm sure the trailer is great.
I enjoyed the trailer.
Yeah, excellent. And also, because we did hit our like goal last week, it is time to unveil our Office Cribs Tour video right here on SJU this morning. It is premiering, and you guys are going to get a whole tour of our office with the much requested Ryan. If you've never seen what Ryan looks like, now is your opportunity. Check it out.
Oh, hey there, SJU. Welcome to the tour of the office. Let's go take a look. All right, so this is the studio. This is where everything you love is made. This is where the magic happens. Over here, this is the booth. This is where JTE used to eat chips. I think this is the sinking chair that you guys hate so much. So this is it. You never really get to see and thank the chair, but this is the one that has given you so many laughs and so many moments of joy. Everybody, let's give a round of applause for the sinking chair. 2.0, I think this is a newer chair and it's still the sinking chair. This is the most cleanup it's ever been. Okay, so this is my office, Billy's office, and Eric's office. We all share this. I just want to point out how much stuff Billy has. He has so much stuff. It's so nice. And then so does Eric. Eric has all these awesome posters. And then you just see my desk, and it's just 2 borrowed posters from Billy and a blank calendar that I don't use. All right, so this is Billy's desk. Billy's not here right now, but if he was, I'm sure he would be saying something like, "Wow, Ryan, I'm so proud of you for doing this video and really taking charge and like just kind of like, you know, having fun. And you know, the show's been so, SJU has just been like so great ever since you took it over from me, like just way better. And I never thought I'd look up to you, you know, after all these years, Ryan. And you know, I'm proud of you." That's probably what it is. Okay, this is the stairwell. This is where I come and cry.
Someone next week. I have there's 2 hard drives. This is not interesting.
All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Honest Trailers Writers Room. This is where the magic is made. Let's go. Hey, guys. How's it going? Don't mind us. Don't mind us. We don't want to interrupt the process. We want to see how it's all made. We want to see the behind the scenes.
Yeah. All right. This is the writer's room.
Spencer's working from home.
Spencer's gone.
Danielle's not here today.
Danielle's gone.
Yeah. You guys want to give him a show, I guess, and show him what it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is for everyone that wants to know what's it like writing Honest Trailers. Get ready, because the magic's about to happen.
Okay. Yeah, let's see it. All right, guys, this is where all our videos are edited. Let's check out post-production. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Emin, this is our post-production supervisor. This is Kevin, he edits Honest Trailers.
What are you doing? Work, please. I'm so sorry to stop the flow.
I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, if they stop working, we're.
Oh, yeah.
They're literally not allowed to stop working.
I'm sorry.
Otherwise, we're like all sorts of.
Yeah.
Just fuck.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Can you go?
Yeah, my bad.
Okay, actually, no, we've talked about this.
I know.
The camera thing, the like.
You told me to do it for the SJU. That was a trick. Okay, well, you gotta tell me when you trick me. That's not how here. No. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I know. I know. I just wanted to give him a tour. I know, buddy. You did a good job. You did a good job.
Well, thanks again. Like and subscribe, and we'll be back some other time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much to Ryan for that brilliant office tour. Let us know at home. Ryan, was he as handsome as you expected? Comment.
More. I've never actually looked Ryan in the face until I watched that video.
All right, moving on to our next story, which is Parasite, the Best Picture winner, the first international film to ever score that award at the Oscars over the long President's Day weekend. The South Korean dark comedy thriller made its biggest push yet in the U.S., expanding from 1,060 locations to 2,001. The movie paid off as the move paid off rather as Parasite raced up the chart to number 7 with 6.8 million, which is the film's top weekend gross to date. After Neon originally distributed the film starting as early as October of last year. Globally, Parasite celebrated its Academy Award victory by zooming past the 200 million mark. So Parasite is still on the up and up. Does this counter the counter narrative that awards shows don't mean anything?
I mean, that's a weird narrative. I think they definitely do mean something. We turned our headphones up, but now we get the ghost voice. Here's what happened. There were ghost voices the other day, and now we got to turn the headphones back down. So I'll just vamp. That's always a weird narrative because I understand people say like award shows are meaningless in the artistic sense,
right.
But there's usually some box office interest. I think really what this shows is a movie that people were very interested in. It reminds me of when The Office won the Golden Globe many years ago, and people were like, it was the first time people heard of it.
Sure.
And then it won, and they're like, oh, I guess I should check this out.
Yeah.
And so they, that I think that's when stateside it sort of started to make some inroads.
Totally.
So, I think it's really impressive is that the movie's out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it is.
It's available to buy, to rent, I assume. So the fact that Neon was so confident in it that it gave it a wide 2,000 screens that's a great, huge, big, wide release. The fact that it was so confident in it, again, it just goes to show you what a great distributor behind your movie can do for it, that has faith and confidence. And I love the fact that it was back in the top 10, 6.8 million. That's great. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I also do love about this particular success is the fact that I believe that they used to market like milk, like you got milk, and it was just like the whole milk consortium was doing an ad, or
like the
beef.
dairy farmers,
the dairy farmers, or the beef consortium, or whatever. In this, the people who go, I know it's out on streaming, just go see it in a movie theater though. There's something to it. Go see it. Whoever's in charge of that and a cultural zeitgeist is doing a pretty good job, because I am a person who I had very much access to seeing The Irishman all types of different ways. And I took my butt down and sat in that. I dehydrated the hell out of myself. I was a dried piece of jerky when I went into that screening just so I wouldn't have to leave.
Right.
And I endured all the cane sounds of people walking hither and thither to go to the bathroom during the 3-4 hour runtime. And I watched it this big, and I looked at all the de-aging up close. And bottom line is, they sold it to me. You can get it on streaming, but just go see it in the movie because you'll respect it. And I think Parasite, definitely after it won Best Picture, I think a lot of people were going, well, if I'm gonna see it, I might as well see it properly. And I think once we've all of those beautiful translations of what Bong Joon-ho has been saying through award season and stuff, even to the point of I watched a DGA thing where sometimes an actor in this scene would be the best, and another time an actor and right over here would be the best in this other take. So he digitally merged takes for performance. He used CGI to digitally merge takes for performance in a kind of small movie where they built everything. They built that house. You know what I'm saying? On a big field, they built it. So it's like all these different things you find out all throughout the award season process that let scenists and film dudes and dudettes like myself go, I must see that writ large. I must. So whoever is doing the marketing of getting people to understand that some things you must see big like that.
Yeah, and again, to your point, Dan, of the fact that Neon as a distributor had the confidence in this film that people were going to buy into that narrative of you must go see this in a movie theater is it's great.
Yeah, if one exists without the other, it doesn't work.
Or even just recognizing the fact that they doubled the screen size the week after it won Best Picture, just understanding that and embracing the fact that they didn't say like, oh, well, yeah, people buy it on Blu-ray. They're like, no.
Yeah.
The curiosity for this film is going to peak here. Maybe it would have peaked the week that the nominations came out, but they capitalized on this win. And I think, yes, it is a money move in the sense that it did well this weekend. But I honestly think the way, if you look at how Neon's been handling this film, I honestly think it is the way the distributors should work, which is them saying the peak interest for this film is it's going to be this weekend is when people are going to want to go see it. We want to make sure that if people people want to go see Parasite in a theater, that it is available for them to go see it.
Yeah.
That's what I like. They didn't balk at the extra cost. They didn't balk at the logistics of it. They're a distributor, and their job is to get people to see their movie because they obviously are behind it and they love it. That's the role that you want a distributor to play. So I like that. I like when you see these A24s and neons that'll give a wide nationwide release to a movie like Hereditary, or that will push double Parasite in screen size after it wins Best Picture, because they want people to see their movies.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it adds to the corporate profile too. It's like our movies, the next thing that Neon drops, they'll be able to say, we're the people who picked up Parasite before anybody, and we gave it a second release so we could cement its moviness, its worthiness in a second run. We're the people who did that. So would you like to go with us or these other guys?
No, absolutely.
As a company, I think that's a huge feather in their cap, which is the fact that they can say, listen, we took this movie that Alon and I looked it up. But Parasite first came up last June when it opened in South Korea, and it won the Palme d'Or and everything. They can say, like, we took this movie that won the Palme d'Or in Cannes, the subtitled a South Korean film. We platformed the release. We created a buzz about it. It had the highest purse theater average opening of any movie last year. So we successfully opened it then. We successfully helped to navigate it through awards season. On the base of that and the merits of the film, it won all these Oscars. And we successfully then re-expanded it nationwide. Like, that is a hell of a thing to put on your resume if you're someone like Neon, who's going to be in a competitive market trying to find the next Parasite.
Yeah, I mean, if I am a filmmaker and Neon comes to me now and says, hey, we want to distribute your film, I'm like, I'm all in. Take it, run with it. I believe in you.
Because you know that if they believe in the movie, they're not going to sell it to Amazon if they think they can make $5 extra.
Yep.
They're not going to sell it to Netflix if Netflix is going to take them out to lunch or whatever.
They're not going to limit your potential to be seen as a movie.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that.
They're sending a very clear message that says that if we believe in this movie, we don't care what the conventional wisdom says about what can win Best Picture. We don't care what the conventional wisdom says about what people will go see or not see in a theater.
Sure.
We believe in good movies, and we believe in getting them out there to the public. I think now that we are entering such a corporatized version of, like, well, we love your show and we might pick it up for the network, but if it sounds like we should put it on Hulu, then your show may go to Hulu. But it's like, no, it's this cyclical thing of, like, you're going to go back to the businesses that say, like, we like movie, we want people to see movie, therefore we will buy movie. Yeah,
we buy movie. We put movie in movie theater for people to go see. Yeah. Well, and speaking of the success that Parasite has had, both at the box office and also obviously throughout awards season, I think that is generating a lot of buzz. That's, again, getting more people to go see it. Do you think that because of Parasite's Best Picture win, that we're finally going to start seeing people overcoming the obstacle of subtitles and making that not be a deterrent for them to go see a film?
I mean, I hope so, but unfortunately, as far as the mass market idea, we've been through this before with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, when people are like, oh, will people finally overcome the obstacle of subtitles? Like, it seems like once every 5 years or so, there's a subtitle film that'll break out, and everyone's like, it's going to open the floodgates. The only thing I think that maybe might actually change something is the success at the Oscars, but I don't know. It's been a struggle forever. It's always been a struggle for people to, because I get it. It's a bit of it's more taxing, I guess, as an experience. There's an extra barrier, even if it's the 1-inch barrier. That is a barrier, but the rewards are so rich.
I mean, okay. Well, if I may speak for the dumb Americans, because I am able to read movies when, just like any other trying to sell things to a foreign market, when there's enough actual action and enough story themes that I connect with in it, so it's not scads of time of me reading about, certain things you watch. It's like this much of the Edo era, and it doesn't relate to anything outside of something that I can understand.
Sure, and I think that's one of the strengths of Parasite as a film, is that it is so relatable to any kind of capitalist society.
Right, which are most of them. So yes, it hits you right there, and it hits you with the family dynamic instantly. And then some of the first things that happen to them are so undignified.
Yes.
But they're aspects of regular human life here. I've had times where I had to look for a Wi-Fi signal from somebody else. I've had times where, I would use something free somebody left out. You know what I mean? Everybody's had those. So it's like that movie kind of cements you in a reality where you don't realize you're reading anymore because so much is happening from the moving pictures as well as the words. At all times, it's a perfect blend of both of those. I don't know that I can watch The Phantom Thread as a foreign movie.
Right.
I don't know that I, as a dumb American, would enjoy that. But I think I could watch Parasite, I could watch Okja, I could watch if Snowpiercer was straight up a foreign language film, I could watch that. It's got a propulsiveness to it. Bong Joon-ho seems to have figured out. I watched The Host before I even knew that Bong Joon-ho was big like this. I watched The Host, I was like, yeah, it's interesting.
And I think that is one of Bong Joon-ho's strength as a director, and a strength of any really good director, is that he is truly taking advantage of the visual storytelling medium of film, so that so much of the story is about what's going on screen as much as what is actually being said. So as you say, Ed, I think that, partway through this movie, the subtitles just honestly kind of disappear, and you're just committed to the story that's being told.
I will say, not for nothing, Neon also had the second best per theater average this weekend with Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a great movie from France that they did not submit for Best Foreign Film because they submitted another great movie, Les Miserables, which made $2 when it came out.
Well, you and Parasite's success are going to make me see that movie.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire is great.
Your recommendations and Parasite's success has made me want to see that movie. So. So yeah, you're doing God's work, Dan.
So they were, but Neon was crushing it in wide release, and they were crushing it in limited release this weekend. And I think that an instinct may have been for Portrait of a Lady on Fire to release it in a more official way. Because I actually just found out the whole release structure for international films is different. So you don't have the same requirements for you have to release it by this date in this many theaters. It's submitted and it's just in competition.
Got it. Yes.
So I think Neon may have even been attempted to release Portrait of a Lady on Fire and the crush of movies at the end of the year during awards season. They waited. It's February. They're putting it out now. It is a very extremely limited release. It didn't do 100,000 per theater, or almost like Parasite did, but it did 20K per theater. And again, they're saying we like this movie, but we're going to put it out at a time when we think more people might actually see it. I don't know. I like these small places like Neon and A24 that I think are going to increasingly get better and better qualities of filmmakers. Not that the filmmakers they have are bad. Your Ari Asters and everyone else that are making, but I just mean more and more heads are going to be turned, I think, looking at these smaller companies that now are not so concerned with streaming services that they have time to commit. It's Jerry Maguire. Fewer clients, less money. Who's coming with me?
Yeah, so smaller class sizes. Let's smarten these kids up.
It'll certainly be interesting to see what A24 and Neon and the likes of those smaller distributors bring to us next award season. But award season is over. We can now move on to the rest of 2020. Dan, what are some movies that you are looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Oh, how long do you have? One that's imminently coming out is The Invisible Man.
Yes.
With Elizabeth Moss and Lee Winnell, and the marketing for this has been really good. But I just love how this looks, which is it doesn't appear to be just another sort of oh, I'm a scientist and I've turned myself invisible. Oh no! It actually looks like it has a point of view and an actual. It's small. It looks small, and that's not a bad thing, but it looks very constrained, and I like this idea of using the concept of being invisible as a way to psychologically torture someone and make people think that they're crazy. I'm super as far as the near radar, that's really on my radar because I can't wait to see that.
It's the most gaslighty movie since Gaslight.
Yes. Yeah, Ed, what about you? What's on your near radar?
Well, when's Antebellum coming out?
A couple
soon.
months, I think.
Yeah, okay, so that counts.
Yeah.
So Antebellum to me seems to be a riff on Octavia.
April 24th.
April 24th.
Boom. So it seems to be a riff on Octavia Butler's The Kindred, which basically is a lady who's a successful writer, and Janelle Monáe in this movie is a successful writer.
Yes.
And she seems to be having these trippy dreams or being transported to a time where she's not so successful, and she has to kind of look at how maybe her ancestors lived and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't know too much more beyond that, and I'm glad of it because I would love to be surprised about how they change it from just the story of the Kindred, you know, because in the Kindred, this lady she keeps going back to the antebellum South and meeting her ancestors who were like slaves, or like one's a free woman, and then there's all this, like, it's a weird time to be a black lady, and she goes back to that time and she has to keep experiencing it, and then she gets ripped to the future again, and she doesn't know when she's going to be thrust back into that reality. So to go from being king stuff of you-know-what mountain to going back to that reality and being yanked back and forth, it's kind of a mind trip, a mind warp thing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that.
My near radar one that I am most excited about, which actually goes into limited release this weekend, is Emma, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, who of course was in The Witch and Split. Well, actually, I am named after the character from the book.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I was gonna be named Heather. Until about a few weeks before I was born, and my mom was rereading Jane Austen's Emma, and so I was named after that character. I love basically every single screen adaptation of Emma. I love the one with Kate Beckinsale. I love the one with Gwyneth Paltrow. I love the one with Romola Garai, the 2009, I think, miniseries that was on the BBC. This also looks fantastic. Can't wait to see it.
I wonder how many people have. Okay, so there's a movie named Emma.
Yes.
There's a documentary I know named Hal. So we got Hal Rudnick. I think there's a movie called Ed.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'm sorry, you get a really bad one.
I got
Sorry,
a
Ed.
really bad one.
But I wonder if we could assemble like an entire Screen Junkies catalog of movies that are just
our
everyone's
names.
Like,
I
is
think we
there one
could.
called? I'm sure there's got to be a movie
there's Dan
called
in real
Joe.
life.
Yeah, but I mean just the
Dan,
name,
just
like Dan, or just like Lon.
What was that one about death that had Joe and then Meet Joe Black?
Joe Black, yeah. No, I think it would have to be like singular.
It would have to be
There's
just
Hal,
singular,
there's
yeah.
Emma.
Yeah, so that is our challenge to all of you at home is go find singular movie titles that are just the names of people that you see here on Screen Junkies, and we'll compile a database.
And for
It'll be the
mine,
SJU list.
if there's a movie called Edna or something, let me have that rather than regular Ed with Matt LeBlanc.
Matt
and,
LeBlanc.
Oh
Matt
my
LeBlanc.
God.
Sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
Oh,
mean to bring it
dude, don't. Oh God.
All right, so looking further down the pipeline, anything standing out to you, Dan?
Several things. Should I just speed round
Yeah,
it
speed
and just
round
throw
it.
them all
Yeah,
out
just
there?
throw 'em all out there.
Well, here, I'll throw out ones. There's a lot of directors that I love that have movies coming out this year. You got, of course, you've got Nolan coming out with
Yes,
Tenet, so there's
Tenet.
a new Christopher Nolan movie coming out. You've got Wes Anderson coming out with The French Dispatch, so you got that. You got Ridley Scott with The Last Duel, which is also with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and they're writing it, so they got that, a bunch of reunions there. Spielberg's doing West Side Story, which I'm very skeptical about, but I love Steven Spielberg and I love West Side Story, so I hope that's good. Spike Lee's got a new movie, The Five Bloods, that's coming out this year, so his follow-up to Black Klansman. Edgar Wright has a new movie, Last Night in Soho, of course, I'm super excited about. And then David Fincher's doing one with Gary Oldman called Mank, which is on Netflix, which is about Herman Mankiewicz, who wrote the screenplay for Citizen Kane with Orson Welles. So,
And he was uncredited as writing on a lot of stuff. The Pride of St. Louis, Wizard of Oz. He's credited. He's credited as uncredited on the screenplay of Wizard of Oz. So yes, and Jack Fincher, David Fincher's father, is penning the script. So I don't know if he wrote anything else. But if he didn't, I'm even more excited because, like, some of these people who sit on that one script or one novel, they tell you not to do that because normally it's bad practice.
Yeah.
But when your kid's David Fincher, you might as well work on it till it's done.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of I am very excited about that.
and of course, Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah,
coming back with
Dune.
with
the Dune.
Yeah, that's my most anticipated of this year for sure. Ed, what have you got?
Man, I really do hope they do Spice World good. That's my name for Dune.
Spice World.
Spice World.
I like it.
I really hope they do Spice World.
That makes sense.
I really
I
hope
like
they
it.
do Spice World well. Speaking of other movies where I just don't see how it's going to be good, so that's why I'm looking for it. Godzilla versus King Kong. My friend Jonathan said like basically Godzilla basically goes Super Saiyan in the last one, and Kong, they've made him bigger. He's like a skyscraper now, but I don't see how this isn't an immense amount of burnt fur. I don't understand.
It's tough to,
How unless Kong's got to show up wearing a whole Duke Nukem outfit. He's got a jetpack back and guns, or so he's got two like rockets on his back or something. I don't know how he's going to defeat Godzilla, so I'd like to see that. There's a movie called Charm City Kings that's coming down the pike, and it's about a kid trying to stay on the straight and narrow, but he gets influenced by like dirt bike gangs in the hood. Like basically in Baltimore, I guess there's a dirt bike scene, and they rode them through actually city streets and stuff, and they kind of do little stuff. And obviously in real life, they're just motor clubs having fun. But in this movie, some of them aren't so savory. So it's a little bit of a Fast and the Furious, but more grounded situation, and sort of I kind of like that jazz. Also, Coming to America 2. Coming to America 2. I talked to somebody the other day, and I was like, look, they were going, I don't know, doing the whole Rodney Dangerfield about it. And I'm just thinking, look, Craig Brewer understands the culture, full stop. He was handpicked by Eddie Murphy. He just came off of Dolomite Is My Name. I do believe this is his opportunity to make some bank. I think this will make money. This will be Craig Brewer getting finally to make some money. He got Oscar aplomb with Hustle and Flow. He got recognized as snubbed on Dolomite Is My Name. And this one, he'll get a super great audience score, kind of a bad critic score, and a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And I think that completes the trilogy of that.
I think for me, with the rest of this year, it's a few things that normally I am not an easy sell on. Number one, Disney live action remakes, but Mulan looks fantastic. I've said it many times on the show. It looks just like historical drama. Please lean into that. I'm really, really looking forward to Mulan. Also, wouldn't have thought I needed A Quiet Place 2. Saw the trailer and am actually kind of intrigued to see it.
Yeah. The shot with the monster coming out of the truck.
Yeah.
Like the truck, like coming out of Optimus Prime's face sort of thing. That was pretty wild. One last one, I think you might agree, I don't know. Candyland. I mean, Candyman.
Candyman.
The new Candyman. Just them not doing the whole, we're going to go to the hood. It's like, well, there's a lot of places that aren't the hood anymore because it's been 20 years, 30 years since the last thing. So now it's about like a gentrified neighborhood that's experiencing the ghosts of their non-gentrified, as it were, past.
Yeah.
You know, almost like he's a stranger in a strange land being a ghost in this neighborhood now.
Yeah.
I think that's damn interesting. And the director, who I'm forgetting her name, but she's a black lady director who like did a couple low budget things, and this is her. This is Jordan Peele giving her a shot to come up to the big leagues.
They confirmed Tony Todd's coming back, right?
I don't know that is, but let's just put that in the head canon.
He's got to.
Let's just put it in the head canon.
Yeah, he's got to come back.
Yeah. I think it might be Yaya though. I think they might have said it's Yaya.
Oh. Well, Tony Todd's gonna be there somewhere, right?
Yeah,
gotta be.
Gotta be his older uncle guy. This is how you hold your hook.
Yeah,
let me show you how to. All right, I'm sorry.
No. And then I also, of course, as a big James Bond fan, am very much looking forward to No Time to Die, especially with Phoebe Waller-Bridge being one of the writers on the movie. I am so excited to see her hand in this, and it's very exciting that we actually have a Bond girl returning. They're no longer disposable, guys. It's 2020. We're making progress. Anything else before we say goodbye to all the adoring fans at home?
I don't know that it's a headliner like this, so maybe I'll let Dan have the last word on that because he probably got 15 more movies there. But
I have a lot.
Halloween Kills. Obviously, Maverick. Look, I think it might be like watching an accident happen or something, or it might be this transcendent thing. I don't know. And is it made by Paramount?
Well, I mean, it's made by Tom Cruise, but yeah, it is a Paramount.
Yes.
I'm just saying because besides the last Mission Impossible movie and now Sonic, Paramount's cupboard's looking pretty bare as far as these hits. So that would be. But last things last for me, Halloween Kills. It's already been announced that there's a sequel to this movie. So I really am intrigued to see how the audience will take going into Empire Strikes Back, as it were, knowing that there's a third one where it's not. Maybe there won't be that drama of like, is this the last one? Obviously, you know, that's an ingredient, and you're being able to be scared for the characters. Will this be the end? So knowing that it's not going to end, I'd be curious to see how the box office goes with that element taken out.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, I'm looking forward to. This is like the 80s revival section. Top Gun Maverick, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm sick of talking about Ghostbusters, but this is the Ghostbusters 3 that didn't exist. So yeah, I'm curious about that. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yes.
I'm super worried, but also looking forward to that as well. And then a couple of others. The Trial of Chicago 7, which is Aaron Sorkin, and I'm a sucker for most of what Aaron Sorkin does. And then Death on the Nile. Murder on the Orient Express was a fun movie.
It was
you get
fun.
Death on the Nile coming back. You get are we building up to a Knives Out Hercule Poirot
So we're gonna have
crossover?
celebrities on a river instead of celebrities on a train.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if the new trend was star-studded mystery ensemble, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
Because I love a
Right.
good whodunit, and you get because you can have an Oscar winner come in and work for 4 days, and you get this crazy amount of casts and people. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love those kinds of movies.
Sign me up for that future. And I will just leave you all with Fast and the Furious 9, Justice for Han. Ed, where can the people find you?
He just saunters in eating. Not only am I alive, I am hungry. Yes, Ed Greer Destroys on Twitter and Instagram. You can check out my YouTube channel with Billy Business and the Nerd Goat crew called Reboot It, where we take franchises and we reboot them in about an hour. And Nerd Goat podcast. We just talked about The Four from Planetary. So me and producer Bill on Nerd Goat podcast got to talk about Planetary and their villains. And I love Planetary. It's a great book by Warren Ellis and John Cassaday.
Excellent. Dan, what you got? Charting?
Charting later today. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, obviously.
Yes.
Talking a little bit of Birds of Prey in week 2. A couple of things just to talk about that performance and some facts and myths and, all that fun stuff we talk about, like numbers and context. All the fun things we discuss on Charting. Yeah, later today. So check us out.
And I'm at Emma Fyffe. You can find me all over the internet wherever Emma Fyffes are sold at my name. Also, if you guys are fans of the franchise My Hero Academia, tomorrow night they are having a big red carpet premiere of the English language version of the new film My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. I will be hosting the red carpet, so you can check out the live stream of that starting at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time over at twitch.tv/Funimation or on Funimation's YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to leave comments, like, subscribe, tell all your friends to turn into SJU, and we will see you all again tomorrow.